So everybody, welcome to another edition of Unbelievable Reality. I'm Roy Arthur, I'm your host, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I was taking some time to kind of go through what has just happened in the good old US of A in the last 30 days. Obviously, the majority of this podcast is about what's occurring in our political system, and what the outcomes could be and where we should actually be focused moving forward. Right now, I think there's just a lot of confusion. I know there's some confusion on my part as to exactly what the fuck is going on, but we should still be paying attention, and I'll tell you why. So, just in the beginning, and this is, once again, I love my notes and I love my research. I'm going to do my best attempt at a recap of less than 30 days. What has occurred in the political world, the environmental world, the cybersecurity world, etc., in less than 30 days. So keep that in mind. All of this has occurred within less than the last month. So we're talking like 25 days. In 25 days, okay? So here's kind of the short list that I came up with, and the commentary, of course, that will accompany said short list, because I can't help myself. Opinions, they're like assholes. Everybody's got one, and I certainly have one. All right, so here we go. Here we go. All right, tighten up your laces, because this is going to come relatively fast. So to begin with, on June 27th, we had the debate disaster, which was for Joe Biden. Once again, I am so pissed at his quote handlers, staff, advisors, that ever even allowed him to walk onto that stage and thought with fingers crossed that he was not going to look like an 81-year-old man who is in the beginning or not middle stages of cognitive decline. That was a massive disservice to him. They should have pulled out, in hindsight, cited medical reasons. I don't know. He got a mosquito bite. Fuck, come up with something. But no, they didn't, because they thought no one was going to notice. Absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. On the 27th of June, Biden blows up. If you saw it, if you saw clips of it, it's painful to watch. But that's what happened. So, the next day, the Democratic Party's freaking the fuck out. Because polls immediately go in the garbage can, and Biden's way behind any opportunity to win this race. But his core group of advisors, those that want to stay in power, not lose their jobs, etc., are like, no, Joe, it was just a bad night. Okay, it was just a bad night. Meanwhile, Mr. Evil is rubbing together his little tiny grubby hands going, he, they just handed it to me. I got this one in the bag. Vengeance be mine, saith O Trump. That's on the 27th and 28th. All right, moving right along. So on July 6th, President Biden goes on to an interview with George Stephanopoulos, who is a devout Democrat, who is really in the role of trying to show that Joe Biden isn't as bad as Joe Biden was. Absolute unmitigated disaster. Okay, just even in a scripted interview, he's misquoting. He's using other people's names. He said something about Putin being president of Ukraine. He's just a mishmash. He's a mess. And if anything, that interview makes his situation even worse. So now everybody's calling on Joe to step aside. But once again, his handlers, his team, no, he's fine, he's awesome, he's going to move forward. Don't believe what your eyes actually saw. Which I'm so fucking pissed about, I can't enunciate it clearly enough. At what point? Well, you know what? Honestly, I don't even know if there's going to ever be a point where they don't try to gaslight the shit out of us about everything. No, you really didn't see President Joe Biden, creep walk off the stage with the assistance of his wife. You really didn't see him in that interview having no fucking idea what he was talking about. No, that wasn't true. Yet another bad night. Fuck you. Stop lying to us. I mean, it's so bad right now in our political world that it is almost impossible to tell who's not lying. Lying has become the major art necessary to be a national level politician. And lying with a straight face. Oh, I didn't say that. I never said that. Oh, what do you mean? I'm pro-life. What are you talking? Well, we have you at a speech 2 weeks ago, sir, that says right here, women should not be allowed to have abortions, regardless of rape, incest, etc. Sir, we have the film right here. I never said that. I didn't say that. I don't know. That's fake news. That's obviously been edited, and they've used AI. Now both sides are doing the same fucking shit. Okay, I mean, this is seriously now simply the lesser of two evils, to be blunt. So then on July 15th, on the first day of the Republican National Convention. Okay, so I forgot to put that in my notes. So the 15th of July, the Republican National Convention starts. As it was quoted in the Times, a sea of white hair and white faces at the RNC. They could not have been more accurate. They could not have been more accurate. I mean, if you saw any of the footage from the delegates for the Republican National Convention, it was a sea of white hair and white faces, with nary an occasional ethnic body somewhere in the scrum. And if there was ever a more disorganized, just shit show of a convention, I have not witnessed it, and I've been around to see a lot of these things, okay, on television. Thank God I've never gone in person, because I would actually throw up after day one just hearing, especially on the Republican side, the constant sound of lips smacking ass. I would just literally be nauseous. And we can expect more at the Democratic National Convention as well, but once again, lesser of two evils. That's going on the 15th of July. Big fucking event, okay? We have an election in November. But wait, there's more. Somewhere in the mix of this, prior to the Republican National Convention on July 13th, this 20-year-old kid, which no one can figure out who he is, why he did what he did, etc., climbs up on a roof and starts shooting at Trump. This is all happening. This all happened. Trump gets nicked. A poor guy behind him gets killed defending his family. It's always defending his family. He was at a rally for Donald Trump and he got shot. That's what happened. 2 other people got shot because this kid obviously was a pretty shitty shot and was throwing lead where fucking ever. Apparently the news reports out today, I believe the 23rd of July, it's all just running by so quickly, is that they saw him on the roof for 18 minutes before Trump even went on stage. So this dude's laying on the roof for at least 20 plus minutes And nobody does fucking anything. Nothing. Not the police, not the Secret Service. I mean, you have one job. Okay, I'm really glad Trump wasn't assassinated. I really am. Because that's just fucked up on a whole new level. And God, I thought the United States of America was over assassinating political candidates. Whoops, we were wrong about that too. But regardless of which, they knew he was on the roof for 20 minutes and nothing happened. So, by the way, today, the head of the Secret Service fessed up to all of this and the fact that the Secret Service, who was supposed to protect Donald Trump, was basically just fucking ineffective, is a nice way to put it. The reality is they had one job and they completely fucked it up. Period. No ands, ifs, or buts. Democrat or Republican, bottom line is, if that's how inept the Secret Service really is, none of the candidates are safe. I mean, literally. The kid was literally 150 yards away. And they're supposed to secure a perimeter out to 1,000 yards for snipers. 1,000 yards. And it's not like Trump isn't a radical figure, correct? Yeah. Okay. Wow. So, again, this is on the 13th. So then, oh Lord, Joe Biden on the 21st drops out. Now, I will say this, and this is my belief, these are my opinions. If you don't like them, as usual, turn the fucking video off. Biden did the most honorable thing we have seen by a politician in our lifetimes. Everyone else would have gone down denying, fighting, desperately clinging to power, watching it slip away, but incapable, egotistically incapable of saying, I gotta step aside. Whether you like Joe Biden or not, whether or not you respect his 50 freaking years of service to this country in more than one position, through more than one generation, for fuck's sakes, through the invention of, cell phones, the internet. Holy shit, when Biden was born, I think they were still driving people around in mule carts. I don't know. That might be an exaggeration. It was the 40s. I think they had automobiles. And we were in the middle of fucking World War II, which we've all collectively forgotten about because, that was so long ago. It wasn't. It was yesterday. It would behoove us to remember that. Anyway, Joe Biden did the right thing. He literally proved who he is. Jon Stewart sent out a one-word text. Legend. And honestly, I believe what he did was legendary. Joe Biden will go down in history in the most favorable light, regardless of how this election turns out. He admitted his own mortality and said, for the good of the country, I need to get out of the way because I'm going to lose to this despotic, fascist, maniac, lunatic, insane candidate, and we're all going to go down with it. Now, I believe Joe Biden should have done that a little bit earlier. And at this point, every minute counts, every day counts, etc. The election is a mere 3 months away. Okay, this is tomorrow in today's world. 4 months away. What is it? Once again, it's the 23rd, I think, of July. So July, August, September, October. Okay, 4 months away. Still, 100 days, less than 100 days. He did the right thing. And I honestly was one that called for him to step aside with honor and dignity and do the right thing. Although in my heart of hearts, I highly doubted that he would do it. I highly doubted that his team, once again, be careful who's whispering in your ear. Sometimes it's best not to fucking listen. But he did it. He stepped aside. He endorsed Kamala Harris, his vice president, as the next presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Now, how did the party react to that? Let's put it this way. In 24 hours, and this is small donor shit. This isn't super PAC shit. Small donor shit. In 24 hours, Kamala Harris generated $81 million, a record for a 24-hour period of funding for her campaign. A record. The most ever in a day. So, it looks like the Democrats are pretty excited about Kamala. We'll have to find out who she decides to pick as her running mate. I mean, there's so much more to come. But all of this shit just happened in the last 27 fucking days. But wait, there's more. Category 1. Okay, this is the lowest level of hurricane, and I've been through hurricanes, okay? Cat 1 is a bad tropical storm. The wind blows like shit. It rains a whole fucking bunch. Wiped out Houston. This is a Category 1. What hit Louisiana, New Orleans, back in the day, 20 years ago, was a Cat 4. Where 1,100 plus people died. They still to this day don't know. The Ninth Ward, completely wiped out. Big fucking hurricane. This is a Cat 1. Okay? And yet, power was knocked out to the entire city for 48 hours. In some places, it hasn't even been restored. That all happened 2 weeks ago. Did anybody even fucking notice? Is anybody even paying attention to Governor Abbot, who's now pledged more millions of dollars for border security for the unwashed horde? I mean, what is this? Fucking, I don't know, 800 AD China when we're afraid of Genghis Khan and the Mongol horde sweeping across the border? So they built a giant wall? I mean, what the fuck? We have a process for dealing with people that seek asylum for multiple reasons. We are a country of immigrants. If you're white and you watch this video, realize that you're for your ancestors, forefathers, whatever. They were immigrants. They're from somewhere else. Every one of us is from somewhere else originally. Okay? That's just the truth. But now we don't want them. Why? Because they're not white. But even then, when they were white, when the Irish came during the famine in the late 1800s, they were reviled. Okay, this is right before the Civil War, during the Great Potato Blight. The Irish were reviled as Baptists, pagan worshippers, idolaters, etc., etc. They were the scum of the earth at that point. The Germans had their chance to be the scum of the earth. The Norwegians and Scandinavians kind of skipped it because they went to Minnesota and Wisconsin and just kept their fucking mouths shut. You know, the Italians, when they showed up, once again, wops. I mean, every wave of immigration from somewhere else has always been reviled by the natives. Oh, right. No, I'm not talking about the first peoples, the real natives that were here for estimates at minimum 10,000 years. I'm talking about the white people. Oh, and by the way, our black community, guess what? They aren't from here either. And we all know the story of how they got here, and it sucks, and we still owe for that. Although we will not admit it, or at least a good solid fucking chunk of our populace will not admit it. One of the greatest crimes in the history of the world. Second only to the absolute genocide of the Native Americans, the first peoples that were here, that fell before the wave of immigrants, specifically white. This is all true. I digress. As always, forgive me. Anyway, back to Houston. Don't you think that the money that you're spending on stopping migrants from coming across the border might be better spent on fixing your fucking power grid. Spring, summer, fall, winter, it doesn't matter. If it gets cold, the grid collapses. If it gets hot, the grid collapses. If there's a storm, the grid collapses. I mean, fucking spend your money, Governor Abbott, on infrastructure instead of culture wars. Instead of feeding, once again, your base the raw meat they want to eat that solves zero of the real social problems they face. Just a word of advice, you might fucking think about it. You won't, because that'll cost you votes and you like your job. That much is obvious, because basically you're willing to lie, cheat, steal, and step over dead bodies to keep it. Except those dead bodies are your citizens. So with that, then in addition to that, oh boy, this is the biggest one. Now you see, which is even, I don't even know how to put this shit in order, okay? I don't know how to do that. But this is huge, huge. And this is a massive warning for the world, not just for us here in the good old US of A. The Crowdstrike update failure. This happened on July 19th, 5 days ago. Right now, 5 days later, people are still stranded in airports all across the United States. Delta just came out and announced they will no longer allow unaccompanied minors to fly because of this disruption, which they say was caused by a bad code. Bullshit. Or a code update. Once again, absolute bullshit, man. We can't prove it, I can't prove it, but the fact that this might be a cyber attack, and the fact that it shut down the banking system, the airlines, I mean government offices, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the world now where we are so absolutely dependent on the internet for all fucking things. If this isn't a huge wake-up call, I don't know how many more we need to have. Every single week we hear about another hack. 2.5 million people lost their data. 8.5 million people lost their data, AT&T. The numbers are far higher than that. That's all they're admitting to. But that's not fact. So, Crowdstrike, fuck up, 5 days ago, froze everything. Cherry on the top. Cherry on the top. This all happened in less than a month. I remind you. This all happened in less than a month. This is our unbelievable reality. Think about how many other things have happened in the last 30 fucking days that weren't even big enough to make the news as far as the mass media is concerned. What? Have you seen anything of late about Ukraine? How's that going? I mean, we've given them like $80 billion in military assistance. How's the war going? Anybody checking in? I can guarantee the EU sure as fuck is. We're not talking about that right now. No. Our collective conscience, our collective memory is so short. When Biden stepped aside and endorsed Kamala Harris as the frontrunner, as his presidential pick, all the conversation about the assassination attempt on Trump, that's gone now. The wind in his sails from that. The Messiah survived. It was an act of God. He was spared by the Almighty. I mean, complete, utter bullshit. Dude fucking missed. Could have gone the other way. Okay? It was a coin toss. But I don't really think God had anything to fucking do with it. And if God chose him as our anointed one, the second coming, man, are we fucked. By the way, I'm trying to use the word fuck, which fits in everything so nicely, as little as possible. It's not really working out, but I'm going to continue to strive. It's the best I can do. Anyway, back to what happened to that. See, our appetite for mass media is overwhelming. We're getting bombarded. Please reflect or review my previous podcast. Do you like being sold? Please review my previous podcast, Homeless Billionaires. This is advertising. This is marketing. We are becoming numb to the realities of what are actually that are actually happening around us on a daily basis. In the last 30 days, there were 7 mass shootings. Bet you didn't know that. No. We're too busy talking about Biden, Trump, Harris, etc. 7 mass shootings in the last 30 days. What about those people? What about the 5,000 people that have died this year from mass shootings already? We don't hear about them because it's not a headline grabber, because we're growing immune to it and bored with it. My attempt with Unbelievable Reality is and always will be to force you, the viewer, listener, to stop and go, oh shit, you're right. I forgot about that. Or I didn't think about that. Or is that really true? And to support my opinions with facts and information that back my ass up. I don't want to just be a talking head. I want you to be informed, educated, annoyed, offended, all of it. I don't really care, as long as you're paying attention. Because this is what happened in just a month. Think about it. Our reality right now is so unbelievable. And it's only getting more unbelievable every day that goes by. So, any notes I missed? I don't really think so. Like I said, check out my previous podcasts, YouTube, Unbelievable Reality Podcast, TikTok, Instagram, subscribe, view, listen, Spotify. I'm Roy Arthur. And if you don't like my opinions, I really don't give a fuck. Peace. Talk soon.